So coming up here on our left is, where is it? Come here. That is the Star Barn. Now, what? So that's a local, oh shit, I gotta be in the other lane. Come on, friend. Not that friend. This one, move faster. Okay. Because we are on a mission. It's not from God, but a mission nonetheless. So, back to the Star Barn. It is a local treasure. And they, a couple years ago, they tried to tear it down. Because they built that development there right behind it. And where are we going? Where are we going? You don't know yet. You don't know yet. So the Star Barn, they tried to tear it down a couple years ago. Couple years ago. I'm gonna talk like 5. Let's say 5, 7. Probably longer than that. Yeah. Yay. So they tried to tear it down, and then there was a big outcry, and they had signs up there, right? This is right along the highway, as you can see, highway. Yeah. So they tried to tear it down. There you go. That's where we're going. Bam. Yay. So they tried to tear it down, and then they raised a whole bunch of money to keep it up and keep it going. And that was pretty much the end of that. And then it's funny how it works. I left the state. I moved out of Pennsylvania, and I moved to Central Washington. And I took my family when my parents came into town this past July. I said, oh, let's go down to the local Amish shop. There's this place, it's called Amish Connections, down in Toppenish, which is down on tribal lands. Down there is the Yakama Nation, Yakama Nation, which is a band of, I think it's 20 some tribal groups that were all kind of using the same general couple million acres of land, and they all rotated around, or they were nomadic tribes and kind of rotated all around in the same general area, and they were all included in this treaty to get this 1,000,002 acres or whatever it was, to have a home territory to live on. And down on the tribe, in the res, as the locals call it, there's this Amish shop, and I went in there and I saw a picture of our Star Barn. It was absolutely a sheer delight to see the Star Barn. I was just absolutely thrilled, and I was not expecting it. And then I went to Kansas City this past December. I'm in an organization that does a lot of traveling, which is one of my absolute favorite things. And I was at this dairy. We went and visited this dairy. It's called Chateau Dairy. Is SHATTO Dairy in Kansas City. Coolest dairy I've ever been in. It was absolutely a blast. So this place, they've got cows, right? They milk their own cows, and they also produce milk. They process and bottle milk, and they make cheese, which is extraordinary in my opinion, because there are some local dairy folks. Now this is coming from someone who is from, okay, so in Pennsylvania, we are the #5 producer of milk in the nation. So we are in the top 5 in milk production, which is pretty spectacular. And on top of that, most of our dairies are smaller size. We would be considered a mid-size farming area, where a small would be under 50 cows, Medium size is like 51 to like 170. So that's pretty much the size range of all of our farms here in Pennsylvania. We have a lot of mid-sized farms, which is really good, which makes it even more impressive that we are in the top 5, and yet it's smaller producers that are doing this. Which I find that absolutely extraordinary. But back to Chateau Dairy. 10 years ago, they were just milking cows and selling milk. And this gentleman's wife said, all right, we're not making any money. Either we do something different or we get out of dairy. So they started processing, and it has been, I mean, they were recognized as the best small business in the nation like 3 years ago, and have a signed Christmas card from George W. Bush. Well, the second one, the one, whatever, 2000, whatever, 5, whatever, Bush. They're all practically the same, except for there's a couple letters difference. HW, I think. I don't remember. Anywho, so this guy's got a great business model, and my favorite thing is that this guy, he's just innovating so much, and it's just absolutely astounding. He's got all these different milk flavors. Like, my personal favorite is the root beer flavor. Yes, I said root beer milk. Yes, it is that good. It tastes like a root beer float, and it's milk. It's just straight up milk. How freaking cool is that? Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool. So, he's got root beer flavored milk. He had to stop making creamsicle and banana flavored milk so that he could have enough eggnog. He makes eggnog milk, and he also makes, he was making pumpkin eggnog when we were there. It's just crazy. But he also makes creamsicle. He also makes banana. Like, he's using all these different flavors, which is really just stirring things up and increasing the demand. And he's selling this milk out of his local shop, which we visited, and out of local grocery stores. He doesn't ship his product out of 100 miles out of Kansas City. He doesn't do that because he doesn't have to. He has so much demand that he's buying more cows. He's building a bigger parlor to milk all his cows in. Okay, so a parlor is where the cows go to get milk. Do you know how you see, you hear about the milking machines and the things that they put on the cows to do the milking so that you don't have to milk by hand like the Amish do? Well, that all happens in the parlor. So he's building a bigger parlor, which, by the way, he's got like 150 cows. He's milking 6 at a time. 6 cows at a time. He milks I think he milks twice a day. He spends like 18 hours a day milking and cleaning up the parlor. Crazy. Crazy. So he's building a bigger parlor. He's buying more cows. That's ludicrous. In the dairy industry, buying more cows. His supply is not enough for his demand. That is crazy. Crazy. I'm telling you this because that's just absolutely crazy. You don't see that. You don't see regular dairy guys who are just selling their milk on the market, which pretty much comes down to they're selling to co-ops. Like, a lot of these dairymen, they're selling to like Land O'Lakes, or they're selling to like Swiss. And so all their milk gets pulled together, and then they'll make milk and cheese out of it depending on what the grade is, which usually they only have grade A milk, which means that they have a really clean facility, because that's what the grading is based off of, is the cleanliness of the facility, or of the milking facility and their equipment. So yeah, and most of those organizations like Land O'Lakes are co-ops, so the dairymen are buying into these organizations. But this guy's buying more cows. It's absolutely awesome. That's why when I was hanging out with my bestie yesterday, I told her that she was thinking of getting in the dairy industry, and I was like, honey, that is such a hard life. You have to get up at 5 o'clock every morning, 5 a.m. every morning, go out at 5 p.m. every night. No vacation for you, man. as a general citizen who's watching this video, think of all the vacations you've been on and how you'd never be able to go again because you are providing the general population with milk. Because that's what you do. You may think that's absolutely bananas that you go and do the same thing every day for the rest of your life. The same thing. Not, oh, you don't get weekends off. No, you have to milk on weekends too. This is a lifestyle, okay? I'm telling you right now that agriculture is a lifestyle. It is not something, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go and buy some dairy cows. You know, that's not, it's a lifestyle. You don't just start doing dairy because you think it'll be fun. You do it because you love it, and because that's where you're fired. When you think of think of something in your life, in your situation, whatever, that really just lights you on fire. You just think about it and you're getting all fired up. I know I'm just super easy. It's super easy for me to get fired up about things. But just think about something that gets you just light up, and you have such a fire in you that you just can't even handle it. That's how these folks feel about agriculture and about the dairy industry. And then you wonder why, I mean, with the current climate and all these people talking crazy about American agriculture and animal production and all these kind of things, and you hear all this, and that's why I get so fired up, and that's why agriculturalists get so fired up, and we're like, how are they talking about us like this? This is absolutely nuts, because this is their livelihood, first of all. That's how they make their living. That's how they feed their families, is by helping to feed yours. That's what they do. They live every day by going out at 5 o'clock in the morning to milk those cows to give your family access to a very easily digestible calcium source. That's what they do. There you go. There's a rant for today. You're welcome.